At 82, I've walked through more seasons of life than I can count. But there's one choice that still haunts me. One decision I wish I could turn back. Moving into a nursing home. Back then, it felt like the perfect answer. My family painted a picture of care, comfort, and peace, promising I'd have everything I needed. I leaned into their words, trusting it was the right path. But once I stepped inside, the truth crashed over me like a cold wave. It was nothing like the dream I'd been sold. I know many of you are facing this crossroad right now, maybe for yourself or someone you love, wondering if it's the safest step, the simplest way to ease those quiet fears of growing older. But wait, before you decide, I need you to hear what I wish someone had whispered in my ear first. I've got 6 hard truths, 6 raw lessons from my own unraveling, because life in a nursing home isn't just about care. It rewrites everything, and escaping it isn't as easy as you hope. Stay with me to the end. These revelations might shake you, and there's a surprising twist waiting that I never saw coming. If you know someone teetering on this edge, this might be the lifeline they need before it's too late. So if you're still here when we hit regret number 2, drop a number 2 in the comments. I'd love to know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. Now settle in with a warm coffee or tea, find your cozy corner. Let's sit together like old friends and step into this story, because what's coming flows right into the heart of it all. Regret 1. Losing independence. Now that we've stepped into this journey together, let's peel back the first layer of my regret, a wound that still stings when I think of why I wish I'd never moved into a nursing home. The biggest shock wasn't the cramped room, the rigid meal times, or the sea of unfamiliar faces staring back at me. No, it was the moment I felt my own life slip out of my hands, a truth so heavy it settled into my soul like a shadow I couldn't shake. Before those doors closed behind me, I had my own rhythm, a quiet symphony of choices that defined me. I decided when the sun would nudge me awake, when to savor a warm bite of my own cooking, how to paint my days with meaning. I could step outside whenever the wind whispered my name, stir a pot of soup that warmed my bones, or curl up in my worn beloved chair with a book that carried me to places I'd never been. But here, that all vanished. Time stopped being mine. It danced to someone else's tune. Breakfast rolled in, whether my stomach growled or stayed silent. Lights flickered off when they deemed the day done, not when my eyes begged for rest. Craving a breath of fresh air? You'd better hope someone's free to grant your wish. And even then, you wait, helpless. Simple joys like picking your own sweater or supper morphed into distant dreams, privileges dangled just out of reach. I'll never erase that first week, waking in a bed that felt like it belonged to a ghost. I stretched out, instinctively reaching for the story I'd been lost in back home. But my fingers grasped at air. I looked around and it crashed over me. This wasn't my haven anymore. My books, my chair, those tender threads of comfort I'd stitched into my life over decades, they'd unraveled, replaced by cold walls, a mattress I didn't choose, and an ache that whispered, I'm no longer the keeper of my own world. The cruelest twist? Once you let that independence slip away, it's a phantom you can't call back. You bend because you have no choice. Stop fighting when they shove a plate you didn't want under your nose. Stop asking for a walk when later is all you hear. You fit their mold, but bit by bit, you lose the spark that made you you. If you're weighing a nursing home, pause and feel this. Are you ready to surrender those precious, quiet freedoms that light up your days? Because once they're gone, you'll yearn for them with a hunger you never knew you had. If this strikes a chord deep inside, drop a number 1 below. Tell me you're afraid of losing that power to shape your own life too. Regret 2. Feeling forgotten. With that first sting of lost independence still echoing in my chest, let's turn the page to another wound that cuts even deeper. One of the rawest truths that makes me regret ever stepping into a nursing home. It's the slow, aching realization that the world outside keeps spinning without you, leaving you adrift like a faded memory no one bothers to recall. When I first settled in, my family wrapped me in promises. We'll be here all the time, they said. Their voices a lifeline I gripped tight. I believed them. clung to that warmth, and for a fleeting moment, it held true. My daughter dropped by every week, her smile a thread to my old life. My grandchildren tumbled in on weekends, their laughter a balm I didn't know I'd soon crave. But as the months stretched on, that thread frayed. Visits dwindled. My daughter's hugs turned into quick calls, her voice tinny through the phone. The grandkids got tangled in school and jobs, their chatter fading into silence. Holidays carved the deepest scar. Everyone swore they'd come, but plans unraveled at the last heartbeat, and there I was, alone in a sterile common room, watching other souls gaze at the door, praying today might be the day someone remembers. It's not that my family stopped loving me. Life just swept them away. When you're not there, day in and day out, it's so easy for them to think you're fine, that you're settling in, that you don't ache for their presence as much as you do. But here's the brutal truth. The longer you're locked in these walls, the simpler it is for them to forget how much you still need their light. I can still feel that one evening, sitting in my room, clutching my phone, my thumb hovering over my son's name. I wanted to hear his voice, to bridge that widening gap, but fear stopped me cold. I didn't want to burden him, didn't want to beg for a visit that might never come. So I set it down, and that's when the weight crushed me. This was my new reality, counting the hours, yearning for someone to pull me back into their world. If this echoes in your heart, drop a number 2 below. Tell me if you felt that quiet fear of being forgotten too. And if this story's stirring something in you, give it a like. It's a small nod that keeps us going. Haven't subscribed yet? Hit that button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's ahead. And if you're feeling extra generous, try that super thanks button. Your support means the world to this old soul sharing her hard-earned wisdom. Regret 3. Losing my sense of purpose. As that ache of being forgotten still lingers in the air, let's unravel another thread of my regret. One that quietly stole the fire from my days and haunts me as one of the truest reasons I wish I'd never crossed into a nursing home. When I signed up for this place, I thought I was just shifting where I rested my head. I didn't see that I was also surrendering why I even bothered to open my eyes each morning. Back home, life hummed with purpose, a gentle pulse of small, sacred tasks that kept me alive in ways I didn't fully grasp. I'd water my plants, watching their leaves reach for the sun, brew my coffee just the way I liked it, or sweep the dust from my little corner of the world. Those were my anchors, my quiet reasons to rise. But here, those roots were torn out from under me. Meals arrived on trays I didn't cook. Floors gleamed from someone else's broom. The plants? They weren't mine to nurture anymore. At first, I tricked myself into thinking it'd be a gift. No more chores, no more fuss, just a long, easy stretch of rest. But a few weeks in, an emptiness crept up, a void I couldn't name. Days dragged on, heavy and endless, with nothing left to fill them but waiting. Waiting for meals, waiting for lights out, waiting for time to slip away. I saw it mirrored in the others too. Folks who once danced through life now sat still, eyes glazed, staring into a nothingness that swallowed them whole. There was George, 84, a carpenter whose hands had built a lifetime of wonders. At home, he'd tinker in his garage, crafting little treasures from wood, each cut a testament to his spirit. But here, no tools, no workbench, no spark, just empty hands resting in his lap, useless and still. I feel like I'm nothing now, he confessed to me one gray afternoon, and those words pierced me because I felt it too. When you lose the things that call you to act, to care, to create, life starts to blur into a dull hum. Your mind fades, your body softens, and soon you're just another shadow in a place where clocks tick but nothing truly moves. If you're picturing a nursing home, ask yourself this: what keeps your heart beating with purpose? Because once it's stripped away, finding it again isn't as simple as filling the hours. It's a battle to hold on to the embers that make you feel alive. If that hits you where it counts, drop a number 3 below. Tell me if you believe purpose is what keeps us going too. Regret 4. Declining health faster than expected. While that hollow echo of lost purpose still rings in my ears, Let's step into a regret that crept up on me like a thief in the night. One of the coldest truths that fuels my longing to undo this nursing home chapter. Before I crossed that threshold, I was holding my own, not sprinting races, but steady on my feet, a quiet strength I took for granted. I wasn't out to conquer mountains. I could still tend to myself, stroll through the market for my groceries, whip up a meal that warmed my soul, stretch my limbs each morning to greet the day. Little rituals like pacing my home kept my legs humming, my body alive. But once I settled in here, that all shifted, and not in the way I'd imagined. At first, it felt like a gentle reprieve. Meals delivered to my door, no more standing over a stove, a button to press when I needed a hand. I thought I was easing into comfort, but what I didn't see was how that stillness was draining me dry. The less I moved, the more my body betrayed me. My legs stiffened, heavy as if bound by invisible chains. I leaned into chairs longer than I ever had, and soon rising from them felt like scaling a wall. The vigor I'd nurtured for years melted away faster than I could blink, and I wasn't alone in that fall. I watched it claim others too. Folks who strode in on their own steam soon leaned on wheels. Their independence traded for help they never needed before. The more we let others carry our loads, the heavier we became. There was Alice, 81, a spitfire when she arrived, marching laps around this place like it was her personal track, swearing age wouldn't slow her down. But months slipped by, and I saw her steps falter. First a walker, then a wheelchair. One day she caught my eye and whispered, "I don't know how it happened, but I've aged a decade in a handful of months." That's exactly how it felt, like time sped up, stealing what I'd fought to keep. When you stop moving, you start crumbling, and in a place built to cradle you, it's so easy to miss that motion isn't just ease, it's survival. If a nursing home's on your horizon, ask yourself this: will you hold the will to keep your strength alive when everything's handed to you on a platter? Because once you stall, starting again is a mountain you might not climb. If this chills you to the core, drop a number 4 below. Tell me if you're scared of your strength slipping away too. And if this hits home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your nudge might just keep them moving. Regret 5. Losing privacy and dignity. As that creeping fear of fading strength still clings to my thoughts, let's peel back another layer of this regret. A quiet theft that stripped away something I never knew I'd miss so fiercely until it was gone. A truth that deepens why I rue the day I chose a nursing home. Before I came here, I didn't dwell on how much my own space meant to me. It was just there, a sanctuary I shaped on my terms. At home, I could shut my door against the world, sit in stillness when my soul craved it, handle my days with a rhythm that was mine alone. But once I crossed into this place, that refuge dissolved like mist in the morning sun. Privacy turned into a fleeting whisper, something you chase but rarely catch. From the moment I arrived, eyes seemed to follow me, staff drifting in and out, room checks ticking like a clock I couldn't stop, shared corners where solitude was a stranger. Even the smallest acts, slipping into my clothes, stepping into a shower, became things I couldn't do alone anymore. I know they're just doing their work, but there's a raw ache in needing a stranger's hands for what you've managed since you could stand. That first week I wrestled with it hard, having to ask for a shower like a child pleading for a treat, waiting on their time, not mine. Need the bathroom? Press a button and pray it's quick, though it rarely is. Meals? If the day's dish isn't your taste, you swallow it anyway. No choice, no voice. And then there's the roommates. Not everyone gets a room to themselves, and you don't pick who shares your walls. I lucked out with a gentle soul beside me, but I've heard the tales. Others stuck with noise that jars your sleep, messes you can't escape, or minds so lost they steal your peace. No matter how you try to carve out a nook that feels like home, it's never truly yours. Dignity's a fragile thing, and I didn't see how much of mine I'd hand over until it was too late. When doors open before you answer the knock, when you're spoken to like a number instead of a name, when your hours bow to a schedule you didn't write, it chips away at you. You shrink, feeling less like the person you've been and more like a patient in a play you didn't sign up for. If a nursing home shadow looms in your mind, ask yourself this. Can you bear to let go of the privacy and pride you've carried all your life? Because once they slip away, they're ghosts you can't call back. If this stirs that fierce need for your own space, drop a number 5 below. Tell me if you treasure your privacy as much as I do. Regret 6. Realizing it's harder to leave than you think. With that fading echo of privacy and dignity still tugging at my heart, let's lift the veil on the final regret that binds me to this place. A bitter truth that locks the door behind you tighter than you ever imagined, sealing why I rue the day I chose a nursing home. When I first walked in, I cradled a comforting lie. This was just a trial, a short detour I could abandon if it didn't fit. I told myself I'd test the waters, feel it out, and if the tide turned sour, I'd sail back to my old life with ease. But oh, how that illusion shattered. What I didn't see was how hard it'd be to break free once I'd settled in. At first it seemed so simple. If I hated it, I'd just pack up and go home. But home wasn't waiting for me anymore. It sat silent, gathering dust, a shell I couldn't tend from afar. My kids stepped in, rearranging my world, selling off pieces they figured I'd outgrown, even whispering about renting it out. When I dared to voice a return, their words stopped me cold. Are you sure you can handle it alone? Isn't it safer here? We just want you taken care of. Their doubt mirrored my own because months of this place had chipped away at me. I didn't cook, didn't clean, barely walked beyond these walls. The strength I once wore like a second skin had withered, leaving me less sure I could stand on my own. That fear rooted me here, a trap I didn't see coming. I met others caught in the same snare, folks who thought they'd dip a toe in, only to find the shore slipping out of reach. The longer you linger, the tougher it gets to face the world beyond. Some lost their homes to sales, others saw their savings bleed dry on care they couldn't refuse. No way back. That's the secret no one breathes. Stepping in feels like a choice you can undo, but for most, it's a one-way road. This place becomes your universe, and the life you knew outside fades into a distant whisper, a memory you can't reclaim. If a nursing home's shadow crosses your path, ask yourself this. Are you ready for the chance that once you're in, stepping out might be a dream you can't wake up to? Because those chains, money, weakness, doubt, bind harder than you'd ever guess. If this twists your gut, drop a number 6 below. Tell me if you think you could break free. And if this truth shakes you, hit that like. It keeps this story alive. Not subscribed yet? Tap it now and ring that bell so you don't miss what's next. If you're moved deep down, try that super thanks. Your support lifts this old voice to reach further. As that heavy truth of being trapped still hangs over me like a storm cloud, let's shift the light onto something I've come to see. A glimmer beyond these regrets that doesn't just mourn what's lost, but whispers a way to rewrite the story. A lifeline that makes me wish I'd known sooner why this nursing home wasn't my only path. Looking back, I don't just see the shadows of what I gave up. I see a spark I could have kindled, a truth that age 60 and beyond isn't a curtain falling, but a stage for a bold, new act. In America, they call it second chances, a spirit that says your years don't define you. They free you to live differently, fiercely, if you dare to grab hold. If I'd glimpsed this wisdom earlier, I wouldn't have let independence slip so easily. I could have banded together with friends, living like those sassy golden girls, laughing through our days in a home we built ourselves, or leaned on gadgets like those little medical alerts to stay safe in my own space. Instead of fading into forgotten corners, I'd have sat my family down, carved out a plan, Sunday calls that ring like clockwork, a small Thanksgiving table where their voices fill my heart, keeping me woven into their lives. Purpose wouldn't have slipped away either. I could have poured my years into mentoring kids online, sharing stories through a screen, or stretched into chair yoga from YouTube, feeling my body hum with life again. And oh, if I'd tucked away a little nest egg, or kept my legs strong with daily walks, that dream of stepping back into my own front door wouldn't feel like a ghost I can't touch. It'd be a promise I could claim. Across this land, folks say age is just a number, and I believe it now. If I'd started then, if you start today, you can weave a life that's strong, free, vibrant, without these walls ever claiming your soul. It's not too late to sidestep my regrets, to live healthy, to stand tall, to chase joy like it's yours to keep. The nursing home taught me hard truths, but this is the wisdom I'd pass to you. Don't let it steal what you can still hold. If this stirs a fire in you, drop a number 7 below. Tell me which trick you try to light up your days. And if this flips a switch in your heart, share it with someone who needs that spark. Your nudge could be their first step to living bigger. Looking back, I don't regret growing older. Those years are a tapestry I've woven with every step. But I do regret believing a nursing home was my only road forward, a choice that now burns in my chest with lessons I can't unlearn. I walk through those doors chasing comfort, safety, a sweeter slice of life, picturing days wrapped in ease. What I found instead was a shadow that crept over me, stealing my independence, my privacy, my purpose, even the heartbeat of who I'd always been. Does that mean nursing homes are a dark corner for everyone? Not always. Some souls truly need their care to bloom. But before you let that door swing open, pause and weigh what you're laying down. Because once you cross that line, your world tilts in ways you can't unbend. If I could wind the clock back, I'd have dug my heels in harder, fought to stay in my own four walls, hunted every thread of help that didn't cost me my freedom, made damn sure I had no other path before locking myself in. And if you're standing at this fork now, I'm pleading with you. Ask yourself, is this truly the best for me, or just the easiest shadow to step into? Because the life you're living today, your routines, your strength, your choices, it's a treasure worth clutching tight for as long as your hands can hold it. Thank you for walking this rocky path with me today. I've poured my soul out, and I'd love to hear yours. Drop a comment below. What's one hard truth you'll carry from this to shape your days? Keep it short. Keep it real. Your words light a fire in us. If this stirred your heart, hit that like. It's a quiet cheer that keeps us going. Not subscribed yet? Tap it now. Ring that bell. You won't want to miss what's coming. And if you're moved deep down, consider a super thanks. Your lift helps us spread this hope, this spark, to every corner it can reach. Next time, we're diving into more. Secrets to thriving at 60 plus. Tales that'll lift you up. What do you want us to unravel for you? Tell me below. We're here to weave what you need most. You're not just watching. You're part of this journey, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Because here's the truth I'll leave you with. You deserve happiness, abundance, a life that sings. Don't ever let anyone or any place tell you otherwise. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon.